What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the newest A24 horror movie in theaters, The Backrooms. To give you a little bit of a brief history with my feelings on The Backrooms before the movie. Of course, I knew about the internet history of The Backrooms. I grew up in the era of Slender Man. I grew up in the era of, Five Nights at Freddy's, Jeff the Killer, that kind of creepypasta. Haven't really been familiar with today's creepypastas outside of The Backrooms. That was just because of the memes that were going around. And of course, I played some Backrooms video games on like the PlayStation and other consoles with my buddy Johnny.
For some reason, there's a fucking flashlight on my kneecaps when I'm running, and it flashes the screen for a second when I'm running.
Oh, this game's terrible.
And you see how that went. Not very well. But yeah, I know now the Backrooms, but I've never been into the Backrooms. And when they announced they're doing an A24 film with the dude who started the creepypasta, I was like, let's see what they do. Let's see what they do. Let's see what they could do with this internet. Because I mean, notoriously, they're not very good with internet horror movies. I mean, look at Slender Man. That's not that great. I was like, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. And then the trailers were kind of, iffy. They didn't sell me. They didn't like hype the fuck out of me or anything, but they definitely intrigued me. I should say, for sure, intrigued me. So when I went to go see the Backrooms last night, I'm not gonna lie, I walked out with mixed to positive feelings. But now sitting on the movie 24 hours later, I have a whole different feeling on this movie. So we'll get into this. So I'm gonna start with the things I liked. I absolutely loved the backroom segments. Like, absolutely loved them. I loved the found footage segments of this movie where it was just all in cam and it was claustrophobic and you didn't know what was going on. I loved segments like that. As someone who loves found footage, that's like one of my favorite horror genres is found footage. I absolutely loved the fact that they did that. And they took that straight from the videos from YouTube, straight from the web series of the Backrooms. I loved that. I loved the isolated camcorder horror feel of the Backrooms. Absolutely loved those segments. I honest to God wish the whole movie was like that. Maybe I'm on an island with that take, but I really honestly wish that this movie took place just like that. Whereas the whole movie was found footage, you were following these hazmats people going into the back rooms, and that was it. So I love those segments. When the movie was in those found footage segments, the like 3 times, 2 maybe tops, that we get those found footage VHS segments, they were amazing. Absolutely glued to my seat, fucking riveted. I also loved the music. I know a lot of the music was pulled from the internet, but I loved the music. I thought the music accommodated the weird, crazy cuckoo-ness of this movie and very unsettling. Like when you pair up the backroom scenes with that music, it very much made me feel unsettled. Very much felt like unease, like this don't feel right. I don't know about this.
I don't understand. What is this?
I also love the look of this movie. I love the cinematography of this movie. I thought the movie looked beautiful. It looked too clean, which also came off a little too like, I don't know how I feel about this. It's a weird, like everything about the movie's like almost Truman Show clean. If you ever seen the movie Truman Show, where everything's like a little fake looking, but it's intentionally fake looking. And I like the fact that this looks fake looking. Like the Backrooms doesn't look real. And that's what makes that thing feel creepier is because it doesn't look real. So I thought they nailed the set designs. I thought they nailed the feeling of the Backrooms. And I thought they nailed the music very, very, very well. I'm going to say the few things I was mixed on. And I will say there's like maybe one big negative that I have. The rest of it's kind of mixed. A couple things I was mixed on actually were I didn't really jive with some of the characters, like Clark or Mary. I enjoyed them and I understood their purpose in the story. I understood them as characters, but I never got deeper than just the surface level with those characters. Like I enjoyed Clark and seeing what he was going through, seeing that he lost his wife and that, he's dealing with some mental shit. He has a store that he's trying to sell furniture and it's just not going well, to Mary and her childhood trauma and her, trying to figure that shit out. Like I didn't latch onto these characters. Now I know when you come to a Backrooms movie, you're not really here for the characters or the story. You're here for the Backrooms. You're here for the experience, which the movie definitely delivers on that. But I wish the movie also delivered a little bit more in the story department and the character department. While I think there are some beautiful thematics of this movie, while I think there are some nice little, which we'll get into later. We are going to talk spoilers later. Right now, I'm just kind of giving you the general sense of this movie, and then we'll talk spoilers and theories because I have some theories later on. But I don't understand some of the thematics that the Backrooms brings to those two characters. I get all that, but I just never was interested in the story. I always kept finding myself being like, "Can we go back to the backroom segments? Can we go back to those found footage segments, please? I want to see those." And we just, again, not saying these characters are bad or that they was poorly written. I just wasn't invested. Wasn't invested as much as I wanted to be. And I would say the other thing I was mixed on probably was the pacing in some areas. There are some areas where you just get long shots of stuff. Like, there's literally is a transition scene, this ain't a spoiler, where you transition from the real world to the back rooms, and it feels, and it's almost like an elevator process. Like, it shows you the process of like real world, level 1 back room, level 2, level 4, level 5. And it's a cool like transition from the back room to the, from the real world to the back room, but it feels like it goes on forever, and I feel like it kinda comes into at a point in the movie where we're like, "I get it. I get that the back rooms is a reflection of the real world. I don't need it literally visually showed to me. Hey, this is the real world. This is the back rooms. Just so you understand." Like, it copies what it sees, and I'm like, "They already explained that." So, there was just sometimes a little things where I think we're getting a little too stuck in the sauce of trying to be artsy and trying to over-explain some things, and that's also another frustrating mixed part. Sometimes they over-explain certain things, and then they under-explain certain things. Like, they'll over-explain, "Hey, the Backrooms copies the real world. It copies people. It copies this, copies that." But they never explained the organization. They never explained the organization or other things that happen between the characters that we won't get into, later. But they never explain stuff like that. I'm like, I would feel like you need to focus on those more. I feel like those are more important about the movie than, hey, let's just over explain this one thing that we kind of already knew because they explained it multiple times already in the first couple acts. So that was the only thing that was kind of like mixed on. And then the only like one big negative kind of carries over from one of my mixes. I wish there was some more answers to things. I feel like they kind of leave you in a place where you need to do your own research or you do need to do your own like conclusions to stuff, which is fine. I don't need a movie just flat out spelled out for me. I'm not stupid, but I also need some sort of resolutions to stuff. I need to figure out like, okay, what was the point of that? And why did that happen? And how did we get there? Like, I need some things. Like, again, I don't need it spelled out, but give me a little bit of breadcrumbs so I can get there with you. I can get there with you. So, yeah, that was the only thing I was really negative on is I felt like the last 10 to 15 minutes was throwing a lot of stuff at you and a lot of things that I'm like, I don't understand what that means. I don't understand what that is. Is that going somewhere? Oh, the movie's over. Okay. So I felt like I had a lot more questions than answers at the end of this movie. And while for some people that can be very frustrating, that can take away their whole experience with the movie, it didn't tarnish my experience enough because I still enjoyed the backroom segments. I still loved those found footage backroom segments so much that they like carried it. But I will say, like, I walked away more with I rather I walked away more with questions than I did answers, and that's a bit frustrating because the questions that I want answered are really interesting questions that you asked. I just never gonna get that resolution. Now I could probably go watch a bunch of theory videos and a bunch of ending explains all over YouTube, but at that point, did the movie really do its job? Did the movie really do its job at explaining those things that I need to go watch a 20-minute video on YouTube, or am I just didn't jive with the movie? That's a obviously fair debate, but I feel like if I walked away from a movie that you didn't answer your questions 100%, then I feel like you did a bad job at storytelling. If I have to walk away, go watch homework, go do homework to figure out your movie, I don't think you did a good job. So, but other than that, I mean, just to kind of wrap it up before I get into spoilers in a minute, I really enjoyed the Backrooms. I really did. It's way better than fucking Passengers, but it's not better than Obsession. So I would say if you're gonna go see anything double featured, Obsession, Backrooms, you're gonna have a great fucking time at the movies. Great time at the theater. So again, I really did enjoy Backrooms. I liked it. I'm satisfied. I wasn't a huge Backrooms fan going into it, and now I would say I am a Backrooms fan. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. So now that we kind of went away from the somewhat non-spoiler stuff, let's talk about spoilers and theories. So I'm gonna put right up here, spoilers, at the top. That way you know we're in the spoiler section. But before we get into it, thank you. If you click off, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. But on to spoilers. Um, and then there's not really much to spoil with this movie. This is not like, oh my god, hidden cameo or anything crazy. I kind of just want to start talking about story elements that I'm like, I want to talk with you guys, and I want to put it out on here. That way, either some of you guys can answer down below, or I'm like putting out something that no one else saw, and just that's one thing I will say I do enjoy about this movie so far is the discourse, seeing how many people walked away from different things, and seeing what other people got. Like, oh, you saw that and I didn't see that. That's awesome. Let's discuss and like theories. I do like that. Well, I know I just complained a little bit in my non-spoiler section that I was like, I wish the movie gave me more answers to stuff. I I still agree with that, but I'm also glad that it didn't answer every single thing because then there wouldn't be any like interesting discourse. Either way, so like certain the plot things that I want to know is like so there at the end when Mary's getting chased by Captain Clark from the furniture, the mascot guy. Is that supposed to be the Clark that got eaten earlier? Because I remember like he looked a lot like him. And I don't know if that's supposed to be like the backroom version was the one that captured Mary, and like they had the like recreation of the fight that him and his wife had that night in the back rooms with Mary, and that's like the backrooms version of him, because they obviously established in the movie that there are backroom versions of everybody. I mean, literally the final shot of the movie is a backroom version of Mary. So it's like there's obviously backroom versions of these characters. So I'm like, is that the backroom version? The one that, because I don't, I mean, I have to rewatch the movie, but I don't think he was wearing the exact same clothes when he got captured, when he was talking to, that girl through the non-seeing mirror and he got captured on film. I don't think he was wearing the same clothes as he did towards the end of that. Now, again, it could have been, I don't know time in the back rooms very well. I don't know if every second is every year or every minute is every 6 months. Like, I don't know how time works in the back rooms, if he's been down there for years, because it seemed like they were a while if there was missing posters for the other two people in the movie. So it must have been down there for a while. But either way, I don't feel like he would have changed in the back rooms, So like my theory was, or my like how I understood it was that the real Clark was in that giant ass captain thing, and he kind of just got like lost in the monster. So it's like the monster and him kind of fused. And so like the backrooms version was the one that, obviously was going after Mary and doing all that stuff. But the big boy, the big tall one, that's supposed to be the Clark that we've been following the whole movie. That's just what I took from it, because again, he looked a lot like him. And that's kind of why he ate him at the end there, was because it was kind of like him getting rid of this, not evil version, but just getting rid of this version that like is so like, I guess you could say the non-healing version of Clark, because that's very much like that version of Clark is the one that he's trying to heal from. That's how I understood that. But the major thing, and I couldn't talk about it in my non-spoiler, but I just wanted to know what the hell was the organization about? Because like they show up, like I mean, you see like 2 or 3 scenes throughout the whole movie, but you never really know like why they're there. You don't know why they're testing in the back rooms or what their purpose is. Then they capture Mary and they question her, and all they say is that we used to work on something else, and now we devote our lives to the back rooms. It's like, okay, but like, why do y'all do that? Do y'all do that because y'all feel like it's the new Earth? Do y'all feel like this is it's kind of like BioShock, where y'all believe this is the new city for the world? Like, I mean, what is the purpose of y'all discovering this back room and devoting your life to the back room? I wish they kind of explained that, like what the organization actually was trying to do and like why they were doing what they were doing. Because that was the only thing I was like really lost on. And I was like, that was the one thing I was really interested in, wanting to know was, who is this organization? Why are they behind the back rooms? And what do they want with the back rooms? Are they the ones sending the monsters out there? Are they the ones who created the back rooms? There's just so many questions with that organization. I feel like you showed them a little too late. They came in the last 10 minutes, captured Mary, questioned, and then movie over. So that was the only like big frustrating thing for me, was that, I just want to know what that organization was. So the monsters, we didn't really get to see a lot of them, if they were all different or if they're all like different manifestations of different people's like subconscious. Because like how I understood what the backrooms was like this big giant server that a lot of people can access. So every monster or every creature in there is not like just unique to the characters we're following. It could be other people's like personal demons or other manifestations of shit. So, like, because there were some creatures that we saw that I'm like, we never saw them in that dining room segment that at the end there. So I was a little curious on the monsters because I'm like, okay, I feel like we're seeing some monsters that we didn't see before. But yeah, guys, you let me know what you think of the movie down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Drop some of your theories down below, and I would love to have the discourse about this movie. I might try to go see it a second time just to see if I can catch any things that I missed. Because like I said, I did really enjoy this movie. I walked away with more questions than answers, but I'm still satisfied with all the segments I got with the back rooms. I'm still satisfied with some of the the creepiness, unsettlingness of this movie, and I loved the found footage segments from this movie. I think to me those are my favorite parts, and I would love if we had the whole movie just be like that. But overall, I enjoyed this movie. You guys jump in the comments section. You let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.